Good evening, folks, and welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. My name is Tiffany Daniels, your host, and we're going to have to hunker down for another kind of serious heart-to-heart. So, what I was going to go over with you this evening is in regards to the media and victim blaming. And just like yesterday, this touches both communities that I am highly active in and advocate for. What brought on this topic this evening was one of my folks in the actually autistic community shared with me that out in the UK there was another death of one of our autistic kids, and this one was it was filicide. The mother of the child shoved a sponge down the child's throat. Now, you would think that the media would be horrified and deeply saddened by such circumstances, right? No, what they do, and this is by far not the first case of them doing this, is they immediately hammered on the difficulty of the parents taking care of this disabled child during the pandemic, and basically hammering on how much of a burden it is. Burden. We're gonna take pot shots at a dead child. They bend over backwards to sympathize and justify the murderer, and completely ignoring that there is now a murdered, dead child. Another dead, disabled child. And they are turning it around and making it all about the struggles of the murderer, instead of mourning the loss of a life, instead of thinking about how terrified that child was during the last moments of its life. Now, this was done by the UK Telegraph, and us JD supporters, we know how the media is, unfortunately. So it seems to me the media, they harp all the time. I can see it right now, even on NBC. They harp on diversity, race, LGBT, inclusiveness, diversity. And then on the same hand, they will turn around and with the utmost effort will bend over backwards to shame and blame victims of abuse and even filicide if we don't fit that particular narrative. I have said before that I will not stand for the media to virtue signal to me about inclusiveness and diversity when they systematically continue to not give the disability community as a whole a seat at the table. This goes even beyond that. You see, it's all well and good to use the disability community to get sympathy points and clicks when you can use us in order to push out your inspiration porn to make yourselves feel better about the crap you sling out at good innocent people all day. It is another when you have disabled murder victims, and instead of talking about the tragedy of the child that lost their lives, you want to harp sympathy on the murderers that took those lives. Now, how does this relate to JD? JD is fighting the same exact monsters that we have been fighting for years. Over the very exact same things. The lies they put out. Smash the patriarchy. All straight white men bad. All men bad in general. That people who do not fit the mold, who are not a part or can participate in the way they want with their progressive society, well then it's okay when we get murdered or when we get abused. No, we're going to bend over backwards to sympathize with your perpetrators because you see, you are a burden. Or in JD's case, well, you are a man. So you all deserve what happens to you because A, B, C, D. They victim blame those of us that do not fit the narratives they are trying to push. It is exclusive, so-called, diversity and inclusion. It's not diversity or inclusion at all. You are leaving out a good majority of the population out of the conversation because we don't fit in those nice little holes you had chiseled out. And it does need to be called out. You can't pick and choose when you talk about diversity and inclusion. You can't pick and choose which DV survivors you're going to support based on gender. You can't pick and choose if you're going to stand for disability rights on one hand when it makes you money and yet bend over backwards to sympathize with the people who are killing us. Sorry, I should have probably had some kava tea before I made this video. The point is, this so-called inclusive and diversified media is the one of the most hateful, monstrous machines I have ever seen. And they need to be called out and exposed at every given opportunity. We need to be the mirror that reflects their image back at them. Everyone, the emperor has no clothes. Alright, folks, that's all I got for this afternoon. I'm sorry I kind of went off a little bit there. If you could, we don't get that many views. The few that we do tend to get removed by YouTube. So if you could, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. Thank you.